Did fire have anything to do with those devotions?
Fire always has something to do with it, you know.
You can tell we're dads
Yeah.
of boys.
Yeah, fire, sulfuric acid, blowing things up a little bit. Anytime we have to use safety glasses, our kids are going to lean forward. They're going to be listening. I mean, when Jesus sent Peter to go get the temple tax, go fishing and look in the fish's mouth, come on. He was having some fun with him, wasn't he?
It is a little weird.
I would think so. And Peter learned a lesson he never forgot. God can provide in ways we can't imagine.
We're going to be looking today at how parents can find creative ways to share your faith with your kids.
You know, John, all of us as parents, we want to equip our children to know the Lord, to live for the Lord, to give their lives to the Lord, right? And it starts with our consistency of our own walk with the Lord, and then how are we passing that on to our children. And it can become difficult. Where do we find those moments where a child goes, "Oh, that was awesome." Mm-hmm. And today's guest, we're going to talk about how to create devotionals that your kids will remember, that make an impact. And Tim, welcome back. Good to have you.
Glad to be here. Thanks so much, Jim.
Hey, a lot of parents, like I said, they want to pass on their faith to their children, but they're not always sure what connects. Mm. I mean, I remember that. You know, I did the toothpaste one. I remember doing that little devotional. Squeeze out the toothpaste, then have the boys try to put it back, or your daughters, and it's impossible. And then you parlay that into, that's how our words are spoken. You can't put them back in the tube. Once they come out, they're out there. Yeah. And I think that was one that connected for the boys. But there is this challenge, especially age-appropriate challenge, where kids need the tactile experience. Like, how do we put this together? And I guess it comes down to that question. How did you come up with the idea of using what you call dangerous devotions? Every child's going to go, I want to do those. Yeah. Dangerous devotions.
Well, as a father of 3 boys, and then even working volunteer with youth as the years went on with my wife, to hold their attention, that was really a challenge. And so that was really what was driving it is what can you do to get their attention? And then you follow that with a little nugget of truth. Yeah. And they just sort of etch together in their mind. And but yeah, they're involved in some activity. They wonder where you're going with it, and they're just having fun with it.
Part of the problem, Tim, I think in the parenting role, we don't get a manual to say this is the best way to parent. I would say there are some great curriculums that people should look at.
Right.
The purist is going to think, I need it to be structured. Heavily structured. We're going to do 3 minutes of an opening song. Jesus loves me, this I know. We're going to move then. And we kind of make it like a church service.
Yeah.
And that may not connect with the kids according to their age, 8 years old, 10 years old. Mm-hmm. Action is a good thing. And really doing something with their hands is also a good thing. Speak to the parent that might struggle with that. They're more structured and they don't see the benefit of what they might perceive as play. Why during a devotion would you encourage the children to play? This is serious, Tim.
Yeah.
You speak to that parent's heart to say, no, loosen up a little bit, make it fun, and it will stick.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe even to take a page from Jesus' ministry, right? The greatest teacher ever. And yet God in all his wisdom, he gave us one recorded sermon, only one. Even though he was speaking all the time. But he gave us lots of stories. He gave us lots of these visuals that Jesus did. And really, every time he healed somebody, that was an object lesson. He got people involved in an activity, and they were able to see it. And so Jesus used this, get people involved. He was teaching them lessons before they knew they were being taught.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about the parents? And again, I'm just speaking on behalf of the parents I know, me being one of them. That, we're assuming the kids are going to go to Sunday school, they're going to get all they need right there, and that's sufficient, versus saying, no, they need sprinkling, kind of like your lawn. You need to water it often so that the green growth is there. Spiritually speaking, we as parents need to water spiritual truth into our children's hearts so that the effect, the impact is there. Yeah. What about that parent that leans just too much on the church?
The church isn't there enough. Their church won't be there in the middle of the night when they really need to talk. And so if you're establishing some spiritual conversations with your kids, it becomes easier to talk more about spiritual things as time goes on. And that Sunday school teacher may be there for a year or two in their life, and then they're gone or whatever. And they do great work, and that's wonderful. We love that. We just want more. They augment what we are doing because we're there all the time. Like you said, with the lawn.
The watering of the lawn. I like that. You share a story about a dad who started doing devotions with his sons that eventually turned into something much bigger. What was that story out of your book, and how did it impact people?
I think that was one where there was a dad had met him at a conference, and he picked up the books. He's starting to do devotions with his kids, and they were loving it. Well, he was telling other dads about it, and then that was right when COVID hit. And COVID hit, and suddenly their church closed. But he was able to still do these devotions. Well, he's talking to other dads. That grew into a weekly group where they met outside in his lawn of 45 dads and kids. And they would take turns doing these devotions, and it was some sort of an activity. And then they would tie a nugget of truth, and they said that was just super effective.
Did fire have anything to do with those devotions?
Fire always has something to do with it.
You could tell we're dads of boys.
Yeah. Fire, sulfuric acid, blowing things up a little bit. That anytime we have to use safety glasses, our kids are going to lean forward. They're going to be listening.
Now, that idea of dangerous devotions, what are you achieving there, and why do kids love this edgy stuff?
Yeah.
And then it sticks.
Yeah.
They'll remember that for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Compared to something that, let me just say, could be boring.
Yeah.
And they won't remember it.
Into this moment of that increased heartbeat, a little bit of adrenaline, whatever. When we incorporate even a little bit of that in our devotions, where we're by a campfire here, we're going to do something, and that makes a difference. So I've got like this one here, like you can take something like Coffee Mate, a non-dairy creamer. You throw that on a fire, and you get a great big.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That stuff's flammable?
Yes.
Should we be drinking it?
I tell you what. Well,
I'm sorry, I just never knew that.
Toss the rest into the fire.
Don't smoke and
You just
drink.
changed my morning drink.
As long as you're not smoking.
It goes up in smoke?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, big flame. And so it's very exciting.
Thank you, by the way, for not demonstrating that here in the studio.
Right.
So let me ask you, how do you attach that to a biblical principle?
Well,
the fact that coffee creamer goes up in smoke.
Okay, so you take a handful of it, right? And you throw that in the fire, you create this big thing. It is in your hand, Jim. It is in your power to create this great big burst or not, depending if you throw that on. Same thing, let's say when our kids are having conversations at home. It's in their power to make a big flame and make a big blow up.
Oh, wow.
Or not. It's in our hands to do that. Bible tells us a soft answer turns away wrath, right? A gentle word. And we want to encourage our kids. And sometimes, instead of just saying, hey, talk nice,
Right.
take them out to a campfire, get some Coffee Mate, and we do this little demonstration.
This is like our words.
Yeah. Yep.
That is good. I love that.
Yeah, it's
I'm
fun.
sorry we're not camping anymore. I would have done it this weekend and thrown the whole bottle on it.
Oh, yeah. Stand back.
Your brother-in-law and his wife recently saw the impact of these types of devotional lessons, which is great. What happened with that experience? What did they walk into?
So, my brother-in-law, Jim, he's a pastor down in Florida, and he had done a devotional with the kids. It was with elementary kids years ago, and he had done this one demo that's a variation of it's in the book, and then his wife was going to be doing the youth group just a week or so ago, and so he said, hey, we'll have you do this one. It's this cool chemical thing, and let's do this. And so she does it. Well, she just starts it, and one of the girls in the class says, oh, I know that one. And she said, well, tell me what was the point. And the girl was able to give it. And when they looked back, it was like 10 years earlier that Jim had given that devotional when she was in elementary school, and now in high school, she still remembered it.
Oh, yeah. That's the point.
Yes.
I mean, that's actually the evidence of what we're talking about.
Yes.
And let me also say, not every parent is the same. We have a spectrum of personality, God's bouquet of flowers. So some parents are going to be more engineering-minded. Then you have other colorful parents that are always excited about everything.
Yeah.
But within that, for the parents that may feel intimidated in doing some of this, it could go wrong. Tim, I mean, it could blow my hand off, that coffee powder.
Yeah.
I mean, you can rationalize not doing it for lots of reasons.
Sure.
How do you encourage that parent that's a little more hesitant to do something like this? It takes time. It takes effort. You got to think about it.
Yeah.
But what do you say to that more reserved parent who may not get it?
Well, one, we're going to, with the book, we're going to walk them through it. We realize that some are going to feel like that, so we're going to walk them through it. We're going to encourage them to try it once ahead of time, and they're going to feel more confident. But when they get their kids' reactions, oh man, that's going to move them past a lot of hurdles because they're going to see how engaged they were and how good that went, and they're going to think about that later and say, wow, there's something about the Holy Spirit just like resonates in you where you say, I know I was doing what he wanted me to do there.
Yeah.
It's a great thing. So let's go get that encouragement.
So let's look at an example. Let's talk about the slingshot of the Cornish hen, which you do have in front of us here. People on YouTube are going, is that a Cornish hen?
It is. It is. All right. So
is it frozen?
No.
Okay.
Well, it is still a little bit, but you don't want to use it frozen.
Yeah, that's a projectile.
It is. It's a cannonball, and you don't want that. But so you pick up one of these 3-man slingshots. It's really for launching water balloons.
Where do you find that exactly?
Just go right online.
Okay.
And go 3-man slingshot or water balloon slingshot, and you'll have a whole variety of them. And they're generally $20, $25, something like that. So think of it. If we were doing this.
There's 3 of us.
Yeah, right? So we'd have John on one end holding it, and we'd have me on the other end holding it, and then there's a little pocket that would normally hold a water balloon. And Jim, you would pull that back and stretch that back, and when you feel like you've got far enough, you'd launch that. Well, now if we take a Cornish hen and we make sure it's thawed, and we help the kids launch that. And I'll tell you what, we did it, not this past Thanksgiving, it was the one before, and that thing goes like about 150 feet. You go like in a field, we did it by a school. And it's fun, and it's kind of sad. The wings are flailing on this little thing as it goes, and because
Moms,
you take
close
it out
your
of,
ears.
Yeah, you take it out of the wrapper, and let it go, and the kids run to retrieve it. And what do you think they want to do?
Do it again.
Absolutely.
If it's in one piece.
Yeah, it generally does a pretty good landing. And now, what if you said at that point, you know what? That was fun. And I think we are going to do it again, but let's do it next year. Let's do it next Thanksgiving. They'd be like, what? That is so unsatisfying. We don't want to do that. And then we're able to transition to that nugget of spiritual truth. You know what? I think that's the same thing God feels. On Thanksgiving, we make a big deal about thanking him for things. We shoot up some prayers, and I'm sure he's really enjoying that. And he wants more. He wants it to be a regular thing. And if we say, yep, I'll be back next year, we'll do that again.
Oh, interesting.
How would he take that, And so we use it, shooting up a Cornish hen for a chance to say that,
I'm curious if the Lord would want to be in on this.
Oh, I think he would.
Would he want to shoot a Cornish hen? I think so. You might have some fun.
I think so.
Let me turn it to another object lesson that you do. When I first read about this in the book, I'm going, I think this is illegal to burn money.
Oh.
But you don't really burn the money. No, so what's this one about?
Oh, I'll tell you what. You in practice with the $1 bill, if you
if you got to go low, don't practice with a 20.
Yeah, but then when you do it with the kids, you want to do it with like a 20. So you can get like a little bowl, and you put rubbing alcohol in there.
Okay.
Just regular. You got it in the medicine cabinet, a little rubbing alcohol, and just a little bit of salt, and we give you the formula. In the
a little
book.
coffee creamer.
No. Do not mix the chemistry.
Okay, good. Kaboom!
Yeah. And so now I'd have
So
a
this
book
is rubbing alcohol. You take your money. What do you do with it?
You dip it in there. You soak it in there.
Okay, like a nacho, huh?
Yeah. And then you get the whole thing wet.
Okay.
The whole thing's dripping wet. And now I use a pair of tongs. I'm going to raise that out of the water. Now I'm going to take a lighter, and I'm going to light the bottom of that dollar bill or that $20 bill.
I hope the U.S. Mint is not listening right now.
Yeah, right. And so the flame will...
It only burns the liquid.
It only
doesn't
burns the liquid.
burn the paper.
And then it doesn't continue to burn the paper at all after that. It just burns off the liquid and it goes out. Now, I keep a bucket there, or you do it by the sink, just in case, something goes
Just
wrong.
in case mom's watching.
This is why we practice on $1 bills.
Yes, that's right. But it's so effective, and the kids are like,
What's
wow,
the
that's
lesson?
so cool. Well, the lesson is this. We can take that $20 bill, and when we tell them we're going to light it, they're thinking, especially if it's their money, if we get them to give their money, they don't want to lose this. This is valuable. They can't see how this is going to work out good. And many times in life, we're in a situation, we cannot see how this situation can possibly work out good. But then God can pull something off. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right?
Yeah.
Didn't look good
Yeah.
when they were going to go into the furnace. And they didn't get burned just like this $20 bill.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
and
it's fun.
What a fascinating conversation today on Focus on the Family with Jim Daly. We've got Tim Shoemaker in the studio, and he's telling us just a little bit about the many different ideas, 52 activities contained in his book, The Very Best Hands-On Kind of Dangerous Family Devotions, Volume 2. We'll encourage you to get a copy of the book from us here at the ministry. And if you're loving this conversation as much as I am, subscribe to this channel. It's a great way to stay connected.
Tim, I want to share a story. It's so funny. So we bought this experiment from Hobby Lobby, and we connect. It's where you connect these little test tubes have a metal strip with a battery cable, little like 9-volt battery thing that sets up. And overnight, you submerge these, and hydrogen gas builds in the upside down test tube, and which is rocket fuel. So the next day, you light the rocket fuel, and kaboosh, it's like this big flame. And it's so much fun. And so, but I left it on the counter the next night. And Gene and I went off to dinner. It was a Jewish Christian dialogue dinner at the Broadmoor.
Oh, my goodness.
And the phone rings and we can't get to it. So our youngest at that time, Troy, who was probably 7, leaves this message. Let me play it for you.
Hi, Mommy. Clinton actually was dumb enough to get the battery I put my tongue on and the mini junk cables and actually plug it in the DVD player and it caused smoke, but don't worry, it did not start a fire. This is Troy, and by the way, Trent did it, okay? Okay. Have I been specific enough? Okay, bye. Oh, besides, don't go easy on Trent.
I mean, is that a catastrophe or what?
That is so great.
But here's the lesson I learned. Put the experiments away
That
if
is
you're not
true.
going to be at home.
That's true. Hey, and you know what? If there's anything dangerous, seriously, if we had anything that was considered dangerous, we tell the kids, hey, this is a little bit dangerous, so we're working on it. And Dad will do it anytime you want, but don't be playing with this on your own.
Yeah.
Or
I love the younger brother there, though.
Yeah.
Don't go easy on Trent. And so it's just so fun. Hey, you also tackle serious topics in your devotionals, like dating and gratitude and family conflict. Man, those can be kind of really hard for parents to plan a dangerous devotional around those topics. How can those topics become like fun devotionals?
Well, boy, one of the big things with kids is we're stressing. We only want them to date a Christian, and that could be a hard thing. Why can't I go out with someone? We're just going out for fun or whatever it would
Right.
be. And so we run a little 3-legged race. So we've got 2 of our kids, and we tie their legs together, use a scarf, whatever, tie it together, and we have them run a little obstacle course, and we time them. Now you run the same course, same 2 people again, time together, but one is facing forward and one is facing backwards. Time them again.
Oh, wow.
And that time's going to be a whole lot different, okay?
Yeah.
A lot longer. And now we can transition to that truth. Hey, you know what? You can feel just as close to somebody whether they're a Christian or not. Just like whether you're facing the same way or
physically
different
close.
ways. You're just as close. But it can only be for a short period of time. It's going to impact you in that marathon race of life, of being married. Which way do you want to go through marriage? Facing the same direction or a different direction? There's a great verse in Galatians 5, and it talks about the flesh desiring one thing in your life and the spirit desiring another. And when you put that together, you're going to have a real mismatch. And imagine if there was a race in life where there was a $1 million prize if they made it in a certain amount of time. and it was a 3-legged race, which way would they want to do that? I think they'd want to face together after that little exercise.
Yeah, exactly.
And the same thing goes with talking about marriage and the people that we would date. We have to make sure that they're facing the same direction, or we're never going to get there to that great relationship we want.
You know, the thing that is amazing, and this is so true with good devotionals like these, you think you're just doing this to teach your children. And what ends up happening is you're right in the lesson with them, learning something about yourself.
Yes. There was a time our boys were young, and my wife and I had a business. You remember the 1-hour photo labs and studios?
It's vaguely familiar.
Yeah, right. And so we closed our business in 2004. There was just no need for it anymore.
Right. Technology overcame you.
We were losing our shirt. And so I took the boys on this little mystery ride. And so basically they were blindfolded, and we made 3 stops. And the whole idea is they kept their blindfold on. We get to the first stop. Okay, boys, lift up your blindfold. Right down where you think we are. Don't tell your brothers. We're going to see how many you get right. And my objective as a dad, fool them. That's all I want to do is fool them. And sure enough, when we'd done these 3 stops, then we went to a little fast food place afterwards and said, okay, what did you have on your list? First place, second place, third place. And as soon as you see a place they didn't know exactly where you were, and then, were you scared? Did you feel like jumping out of the car? Did you feel like wrestling the wheel away from Dad, finding your way? No. Because Dad was at the wheel. Dad knew what he was doing. And it was an opportunity to say, you know what, there's like life. There's going to be times you don't know where you're at, why you're there, and you don't know where you're going next. Just like you trusted Dad. We got to trust God, because He knows all those things. He's at the wheel. You trust Him. And boy, I tell you what, that was ministering to the kids, but that was just exactly what I needed at that time, because I was in that spot. I had no idea what it was going to look like next.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
I can imagine that kind of dangerous devotional, which we're talking about, especially 8, 9, 10-year-olds, but also 13, 14-year-olds.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
They will 20, 30 years later remember that in that moment when something has happened that was exactly the object lesson all those years ago.
Yeah.
Man, I need to remember the Lord's in control here.
Exactly.
And that's the goal, right?
That's exactly right. It gets embedded in their heart.
Yeah.
It's not so much, we talked in the beginning about sitting down and having that deep conversation with our kids, and they're processing through their head there, through their logic center. They're taking it in there. But when we have an activity, boy, that becomes a heart thing, and that truth just gets etched
I don't
in.
want to get away for the YouTube watchers again. We see dice and pretzels. What are they about?
Well, there's sometimes you can run you remember that minute to win it type games? They have all kinds of crazy games, and you have a minute and see how well you do. Well, you run some minute to win it games with your kids. So one is you can put solo cups on your hands, and you have to stack dice up. And so you have to see how many dice you can stack up in so many seconds, right?
I don't think I'd get very far.
Can you show us how that works?
Yeah, right. You know what? I think that
Well, they're close to you.
John,
I think you can do
this.
this.
I could slam this right over. Yeah. And or another one is you take like a chopstick, right? And you hold it in your mouth, and you put a bunch of these pretzels, circle pretzels or the twisty pretzels, in a bowl, and they've got to try to hook as many as you can, right, in that minute. And of course, it's lots of fun. We can have fun with these games, but then we can transition to that spiritual truth that we'd probably be better at any of these if we had more practice, right? The first time through, we're terrible at it. And it's the same thing through with many of the spiritual things. Prayer, trusting God, shedding anxiety. These are not easy things to do if we never put them into practice. But as we practice them, we're going to get better and better. And that's part of the Christian life, is we don't just try to pull these things out when we need them. We're practicing these all the time.
One of the great attributes, I believe, in the human experience is this idea of humor. Being able to laugh at oneself.
Yeah.
It's so critical because in it is humility. And, when you're doing that, you're, I'm sure, hopefully healthy enough that you're going to laugh at yourself with
goodness.
your inability to stack dice, with your inability to scoop up pretzels on a chopstick.
Right.
And I mean, that really is the underlying lesson, I think, one of this idea that, you aren't as good as you think you are.
That's right.
And that's a good thing.
I think
it's
so.
rooted in humility and experienced that way. Tim, let's land here with this idea of parents who have left it to the church. They're fairly formal, let's say. And what I mean by that is a little more stoic.
Yeah.
They're not excitement type parents.
Sure.
We're not looking for dangerous devotionals.
Yeah.
But the benefit of this, even for that parent to break out of their kind of cast
Sure.
and take themselves a little less seriously, to do things like this, to have fun with their children, 0 to 18, or probably about 4 to 18. It gets a little more complicated for teenagers, but you can still do this. Speak to those parents and say, turn over a new leaf, give it a run. Help your children to better understand spiritual truths through these kind of experiments.
Sure.
Make your pitch to the parent that's never done this and has never thought about it.
Okay, so you know what? If maybe they're doing something on a daily basis, I'd say keep doing it.
Yeah.
Keep doing exactly what you're doing, but once a week, swap it out. Once a week, do something more active, because sometimes our kids are tuning us out. Their mind drifts, and we're not even aware of it because they're acting pretty good. But you can't check out of some sort of activity that you're having, and so once a week, do it, because one way or another, we want to use different methods to impact their heart and to help them remember God's truth. So sometimes they can do it where they sit down and they have a very serious lesson, but swap it out sometimes and do some of these fun things. And in the long run, try some other methods, because one's going to stick.
Yeah, and Tim, here's the thing that I've learned. You don't make parenting complicated.
Right.
Because then you get discouraged and you stop doing the right things. But doing these kinds of things are simple things, fun things. They're not anti-biblical.
No.
I mean, this is like the full flavor of God's treat for us to live this life.
Yeah.
And we remember these things, and what a joy to be able to do this.
Right. There's worse things than our kids thinking learning about God is fun. I mean, when Jesus sent Peter to go get the temple tax, go fishing and look in the fish's mouth. Come on. He was having some fun with him, wasn't he?
It is a little weird.
I would think so. He's messing with them a little bit, having
I
fun.
love it.
And Peter learned a lesson he never forgot. God can provide in ways we can't imagine.
Yeah.
Well, again, Tim, these are such practical, good ideas that a parent of children of all ages right there can do these things and have fun. I'm so grateful for your direction to help us, and for the great book, The Very Best Hands-On Kind of Dangerous Family Devotions. I mean, one, the title's fantastic, but thank you for being with us today and helping us in this way.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
And let me turn to the viewer. I hope you know Focus on the Family is here for you in all kinds of phases of your parenting. We're just a treasure trove of help. We've got counselors, we've got great resources, we have age and stage you can sign up for. We'll communicate with you every week. As soon as you sign that child up and we know the birthday, we'll give you content every week until they turn 18. That's a great deal. It's absolutely free. So get that, but also get a copy of Tim's book, The Very Best Hands-On Kind of Dangerous Family Devotions, Volume 2, actually. And that will give you a great start on ideas to connect spiritually with your children and allow them to enjoy the awe and wonder of the Lord.
Yeah, make a donation today of any amount. This month, we're especially asking for a monthly pledge, and that would particularly be the case if you've never donated to Focus before. Make that pledge or one-time gift, and you can do so by clicking the link down below. We'll send that Very Best Hands-On book to you as our way of saying thanks for being part of the support team. And thank you for watching Focus on the Family with Jim Daly. I'm John Fuller, inviting you back next time as we once again help you and your family thrive in Christ.